a special connection to Lewis Hamilton, who is one of the most famous Formula One drivers in the world. The idea that a car linked to a racing legend had been damaged and was now available created huge interest among collectors and builders. At that time, Mat Armstrong was still growing his presence in the automotive content world, but he was already known for taking on difficult rebuild projects. He saw the Pagani as something special. It was not just a car, it was a challenge, a story, and a dream project all in one. However, things did not go as planned. The deal for the car fell apart. The exact reasons were never fully confirmed, but possibilities include rising price, seller decisions, or competition from other buyers. In the end, Mat did not get the car. That moment became an important part of his story because it represented an opportunity that slipped away. At the time, it may have felt like a disappointment, but looking back now, it has become part of a larger narrative. Fans often refer to it as the build that got away. What makes this even more interesting is how rare these opportunities are. Crashed Pagani cars almost never appear on the market, and when they do, they're usually picked up quickly by high-level collectors or specialists. So missing that chance added emotional weight to the story. Now, years later, people are bringing that moment back into discussion because it connects directly to current speculation about whether Mat might finally revisit a similar opportunity. Before thinking about Pagani-level builds, it is important to understand how far Mat Armstrong has come as a creator. In the early days, he was not working on extreme hypercars. Instead, he focused on damaged performance cars, rebuild projects, and learning how to bring crashed vehicles back to life. Over time, his skills improved, his audience grew, and his project became more ambitious. He built a reputation for doing what many people thought was impossible, taking heavily damaged cars and restoring them into working, high-performance machines. His approach is different from traditional workshops. Instead of relying only on factory systems, he often uses custom fabrication, specialist engineers, and creative problem-solving. This is what allowed him to grow into larger and more complex builds. One of the biggest turning points in his journey was a successful rebuild of a Bugatti Chiron. That project showed that he was no longer just working on normal supercars. He was now operating at a level where even manufacturer-level challenges could be tackled outside of official facilities. This success changed how people viewed him. He was no longer seen as just a car enthusiast making content. He became someone capable of handling ultra-rare, extremely complex machines. His audience also grew massively during this time, reaching millions of subscribers, which gave him more resources, more support, and better access to parts and specialists. This growth is important because projects like a Pagani rebuild require not only skill, but also financial strength, connections, and technical teams. Today, Mat is in a very different position compared to when he first tried to buy the crashed Pagani years ago. Back then, it was a dream. Now, people believe it might actually be possible. The rebuild of the Bugatti Chiron was a major milestone that changed the entire direction of Mat Armstrong's career. The Chiron is one of the most complex hypercars ever built, and repairing one outside of an official factory environment is extremely difficult. Many experts believe that such a project would not be possible for an independent builder. However, Mat and his team proved otherwise. They managed to take a damaged Chiron and rebuild it step by step, showing that with the right skills, tools, and determination, even the most advanced cars can be restored. This achievement gave him something very important: credibility at the highest level of automotive repair content. It also showed that manufacturers do not always have exclusive control over repair knowledge or capability. A key part of the success was teamwork. Specialists, fabricators, and engineers worked together to solve problems that normally would require factory-level systems. This included structural repair, engine systems, and advanced electronics. Because of this success, people now view Mat differently. He is no longer someone who might attempt big builds. He is someone who has already completed one of the hardest builds possible. This is why the idea of a Pagani rebuild now feels more realistic to many fans. If a Bugatti can be rebuilt, then maybe a Pagani could be next. However, it is important to understand that each hypercar has its own challenges. The Chiron and Pagani represent different types of engineering philosophies. The Chiron is about extreme performance and complex systems. A Pagani is more about artistic engineering, carbon fiber craftsmanship, and handcrafted design. This means that even though Mat has proven his ability with one hypercar, another one would bring completely new challenges that test different skills. If a Pagani rebuild were to happen, it would likely be even more difficult in some ways than previous projects. Pagani vehicles are known for their extreme attention to detail and handcrafted construction. Unlike mass-produced cars, each Pagani is almost like a piece of art. The company Pagani builds cars with a combination of carbon fiber monocoque structures, high-performance Mercedes-AMG engines, and custom interior designs. Everything is carefully assembled by hand. This means that repairing or rebuilding one is not just about replacing parts. It often involves recreating components that are extremely rare or not available through normal supply chains. The engine used in many models, including the Pagani Zonda, is based on a Mercedes-AMG V12, which helps slightly with sourcing mechanical parts. However, almost everything else is highly specialized. Carbon fiber repair alone requires advanced knowledge because the structure is extremely sensitive. Even small mistakes can affect the integrity of the entire vehicle. Another major challenge is the lack of aftermarket support. Unlike more common performance cars, there's almost no third-party ecosystem for Pagani parts. This means everything depends on original manufacturer systems or custom fabrication. On top of that, the interior of a Pagani is built with a level of craftsmanship that is closer to luxury art than automotive manufacturing. Every piece is designed specifically for the car, making replacements extremely difficult. Because of all these factors, a rebuild will require not only technical skill, but also creativity, patience, and access to highly specialized networks. This is why the idea of Pagani rebuild is considered so extreme. It is not just another project. It is a challenge that pushes the limits of automotive restoration itself. One of the most interesting parts of this entire story is how much of it is driven by internet culture and audience reaction. A large part of the recent discussion started after Mat Armstrong reposted content that included a humorous meme about rebuilding a Pagani from a dust particle. While clearly exaggerated, this type of content spreads quickly online because it mixes humor with hype. It also connects directly to the personality of Mat's channel, which often includes dramatic rebuild stories and high-energy storytelling. The internet has taken this small moment and turned it into a larger question. Is something actually being planned, or is it just engagement content? Fans often analyze every detail, from reposts to comments, trying to find hidden meaning. This creates a cycle where speculation grows even without official information. Another reason the hype is strong is because of how invested the audience is in Mat's journey. People are not just watching car repairs. They are following a story of ambition, failure, success, and growth. This emotional connection makes even small hints feel important. The meme about a student procrastinating on assignments while watching Mat's videos also adds a relatable human element. It shows that his content is not just about cars, but also about entertainment that captures attention strongly enough to distract viewers from their daily tasks. This level of engagement naturally leads to more discussion about what he might do next. As a result, even without confirmation, the idea of a Pagani build continues to grow in popularity at this point. The big question is whether a Pagani rebuild is actually realistic in the near future. On one hand, the timing makes sense. Mat Armstrong is now at a stage where he has experience, resources, and a large audience supporting his projects. He has already proven that extremely difficult hypercar builds can be completed outside of official factory systems. On the other hand, there are practical limitations. His current workload already includes multiple ongoing projects, and adding another hypercar would significantly increase pressure. These builds are not simple tasks. They require months or even years of work, large teams, and constant problem-solving. However, the demand from the audience is clearly there. People are excited by the idea of seeing something even more extreme than the Chiron rebuild. The emotional connection to the past failed Pagani deal also adds weight to the possibility. It feels like an unfinished story that people want to see completed. Even if the exact Lewis Hamilton-linked car is gone forever, the idea of another Pagani opportunity still exists because these cars occasionally appear in damaged condition due to rare accidents or high-performance use. So while nothing is confirmed, the possibility remains open. In the end, This story is not just about whether a Pagani will be rebuilt. It is about how far automotive content has evolved and how creators like Mat have changed what audiences believe is possible in the world of car restoration. If Mat Armstrong, ever officially started the Pagani rebuild, it would likely become one of the biggest moments in his entire career. His channel has already grown from simple car repair videos into full-scale hypercar rebuild stories. But a Pagani project would push everything to a higher level. It would not just be another broken car, a fixed car video series. It would become a global automotive event. A car from Pagani, is already seen as something rare and artistic. So rebuilding one would instantly attract attention from car fans, engineers, and even mainstream media. The scale of storytelling would also increase because every part of the car would have its own story. From carbon fiber repairs to engine restoration, each step would feel important. This would naturally increase watch time and engagement because viewers would not just be watching a repair process. They would be watching a transformation of something extremely rare. For Mat, this would also raise expectations. After completing major projects like the Bugatti Chiron rebuild, people would expect nothing less than perfection. That means pressure would be higher than ever before. But at the same time, success would also bring massive rewards in terms of audience growth, sponsorship interest, and long-term brand value. It could even redefine what automotive YouTube content looks like. Instead of focusing only on supercars, the channel will be entering the hypercar restoration space at the highest level. This is why the idea of Pagani build is not just exciting for fans. It is potentially career-changing for Mat himself. Even the discussion of it already shows how far his influence has grown in the automotive world. One reason this Pagani discussion has become so popular is because modern automotive YouTube is no longer just about cars. It is about storytelling. Creators like Mat Armstrong have shown that viewers are not only interested in technical repairs, but also in the journey behind them. Every build has a beginning, a conflict, and a resolution. In this case, the story includes a missed opportunity with a crashed Pagani Zonda, a rise in skill and success, and now a possible return to the same type of challenge. This kind of narrative structure keeps audiences emotionally invested. People are not just watching because they like cars. They are watching because they want to see how the story unfolds. The emotional side is very important. When viewers hear about a lost chance, like the earlier attempt to buy the Hamilton-linked Pagani, they naturally want closure. This creates a powerful psychological hook. It makes them more likely to follow future updates, comment, and share content. In addition, storytelling allows complex technical content to feel simple. Instead of focusing only on engineering details, the creator can explain what is happening in a way that feels like a journey. This is why even difficult topics like carbon fiber repair or engine rebuilding become easy to understand. The audience does not need to be experts because the story guides them through each step. This combination of emotion and clarity is what makes automotive storytelling so effective. It turns mechanical work into entertainment and transforms repairs into episodes of a larger narrative. That is why even a rumor about a Pagani build can feel like a major event in the automotive community. The strong reaction to the idea of a Pagani rebuild also shows how emotionally invested fans have become in Mat Armstrong's journey. Over time, viewers have seen him go through many stages, starting with smaller damaged cars, facing difficult challenges, and eventually achieving major milestones like rebuilding high-end hypercars. This creates a sense of personal connection. Fans feel like they have grown alongside him. Because of this, every new potential project feels important, almost like the next chapter in a shared story. The earlier failed attempt to secure a Pagani linked to Lewis Hamilton, also adds emotional weight. It represents a moment where things could have gone differently, and people naturally wonder what that version of the story would have looked like. Now that Mat has become more successful, fans feel like this could be the moment where that unfinished idea finally returns. This emotional connection is also strengthened by how YouTube content works today. Viewers are not passive audiences anymore. They comment, speculate, and even influence the direction of discussion through engagement. Memes, reposts, and reactions all contribute to shaping the narrative. When a large group of people starts talking about the same possibility, it begins to feel real, even without confirmation. This is why the Pagani discussion has grown so quickly. It is not just about one creator or one car. It is about a community reacting to a shared idea. The more people engage with it, the stronger it becomes. That is why even small hints can turn into major topics in automotive culture. Today, at the end of all the speculation, storytelling, and analysis, the real question remains simple. Will Mat Armstrong actually build a Pagani? Right now, there is no confirmed information that a Pagani project has officially started. However, the idea is not unrealistic. Mat Armstrong, has already proven that he can handle extremely complex builds, including high-end hypercars that many believe were impossible to restore outside factory environments. With that level of experience, a Pagani rebuild is no longer out of reach in terms of skill. The bigger question is timing, resources, and opportunity. A project like this would require the right damaged car to appear, the right conditions for purchase, and enough time to dedicate to such a demanding build. At the same time, audience interest is clearly strong. People are already talking about it, imagining it, and hoping for it. That kind of demand often plays a role in what creators choose to do next. However, it is also important to stay realistic. Mat already has multiple ongoing projects, and adding another major hypercar could create significant pressure. So while the idea is exciting, it is still uncertain. What is clear, though, is that even the possibility of Pagani build has already achieved something important. It has captured attention, revived an old story, and created a new wave of excitement in the automotive community. Whether or not it actually happens, the discussion itself shows how influential automotive storytelling has become in the digital age, and how creators like Mat can turn even a simple hint into a global conversation. Tio really understand why this whole discussion about a possible Pagani rebuild feels so big. It helps to look at what makes Pagani cars so different from most other